Hello everyone, my name's Dean. Let's talk crypto. This is where you subscribe for daily Bitcoin updates and technical analysis. We track the price of Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency markets at large. Today is January 10th, 2023. And I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you're ready for what is to come in the cryptocurrency markets. Big things, really big things. And today I want to talk a bit more precisely on the smaller time frames. And you're going to learn as to why that is important in just a moment. You know, typically on the channel, I'm really giving a broader scope, higher, 10,000 foot view of what the market's doing. Reason being because excuse me, this phase of the market that we're currently in, or that we were currently in, that we were just in, was an accumulation phase. Yeah, so accumulation in a bear market is very important to accumulate, and then once the bull market comes, you kind of rest easy. Yeah, this is the final opportunity at this level, in my estimation, that we will have a chance to accumulate at lower levels. Okay, once things start moving, the momentum, the sheer velocity of price action will be such that these reads, these analyses, market-wide will be much more complex. Not impossible, but much more complex, okay? So, this is why I think there are 2 days remaining, right, for some accumulation. I'm going to show you exactly what I think is likely to happen with the price of Bitcoin, with the price of a lot of major assets, okay? But on this channel, as you know, we use Bitcoin as a proxy for the cryptocurrency market at large. And there's a reason we do that, because one, it has the highest market capitalization, right? Bitcoin is the king cryptocurrency, and it affects the rest of the markets. And it gives you a sense as to what's happening in crypto, okay? So if we can track Bitcoin, we should be able to track general movements, general trends in other assets, okay? So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to really focus on the next 2 days. Now, I want to zoom out a bit and show you this, okay? What is this? We're clearly looking at the past 24 to 30 days of price action, okay? Past 30 days of price action, you've gotten this, right? These two, it's a W, right? It's essentially some sort of a W formation, okay? Or an Adam and Eve bottom, or a W bottom, whatever you want to call it. You've gotten some sort of bottom, okay? You've matriculated up and out of this, okay? Breaking that important resistance, okay? But what have you not done? Okay, this is Charting 101. This channel is first and foremost educational. So I'm going to repeat and really reiterate all of these important, crucial principles of being chart literate, reading price action. Once you break important resistance, right, you always have to come back and retest it as support. That has yet to happen, okay? If you look on a higher time frame, we clearly broke high time frame resistance to the upside. We came up, and now it's likely that we come back to retest this at support. That is the pattern analysis read of what I believe is going on in the market and what is likely to happen in the following 2 days. Now, pattern analysis does not afford the luxury of being able to put a time frame on this. Nor does pattern analysis allow us to have a really precise price target for this retest, okay? Elliott wave analysis does, however, okay? So let's go into some Elliott wave analysis, which should confirm this this price action, this theory, okay? This thesis. Now, let me explain something first. What you see in this, what you see here, in my estimation, is impulsive price action. Okay? I said yesterday and the day before, the trend has changed. No longer are we going sideways. No longer are we consolidating. No longer are we doing some sort of corrective price action. We're impulsive. And I think that impulse started right over here. Okay? Right over here. Okay? Now, what to make of that? I know some of you are saying, who are keen on Elliott wave theory, you're saying, well, Dean, if you are saying that the impulse starts here, why then do you have your Elliott wave count starting here? Aha. This is exactly why I bring this up. For the purposes of really focusing on what there is to focus on, I started the count right here, okay? I'm not concerned with this, okay? But it's important to understand what this is, not just to discard it. I do believe that this indeed, as I had it before, is a leading diagonal. So you have wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and all of this is wave 5 of your leading diagonal, okay? So that's what I think is going on here. You have a larger count, okay? If you want, you can call this the primary count. I know I have this labeled as a primary count, but let's just say this is the primary count right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what I have in green is the intermediate count, a lesser degree. The intermediate count, obviously, of wave 5, okay? And let's just do a quick experiment here. I haven't done this. I'm doing this with you, so let's see. I'm going to take waves 1 through 3, or my purported waves 1 through 3, retracement of wave 4. Ooh. You see what that shows? Okay, so typically, in a leading diagonal, your minimum extension of wave 5 is... so, in a leading diagonal, typically, if you take waves 1 through 3 and retracement of wave 4, okay, as I did, so 1, 2, 3, 4, you track the 1618 or the phi ratio of all of that, and that should give you the minimum extension of wave 5, okay? So that's 17,570 right here, all right? So what I'm seeing, so we're close, we're very close to that. Are we going to hit it? We may, and I'll show you why. I'll show you why we can hit that legally. Okay, so now I just want to look at this wave 5, or what I think is a wave 5 of our leading diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's how the count goes, okay? And it's important because when you're trying to project or predict timing and price, you have to kind of have a basic Elliott wave count to do that with. So if I take this count right here, actually, you know what? I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna change this. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna change this real quick. Let me put in the whole count, and I'll tell you why. It's relevant. It's significant. It's important to do. I'm gonna change this. We're gonna put this in like this. Guys, if you're getting value, please like, share, and subscribe. This channel is educational. I do my work with you. I did look at this beforehand, but I didn't work everything out clearly. Let's see. But I think there's value in working things out on screen so you can see the process. And I think people learn through processes. You learn through seeing how it's made, not just somebody telling you what's what. Okay, so I think more or less you have a leading diagonal that goes like this. And then what you have here is the minor count. Let's put the minor count in by hand here. Okay, so I had it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great thing is, the minimum extension of the waves 1 through 3 retracement of wave 4 is the 1618 for a leading diagonal. I think this leading diagonal wave 5 extension is probably going to 20K. Okay? Quite easily. All right? But it's just getting started, okay? So I hope nobody's confused. I hope you're not confused. And this is kind of why I did it in the way I did it initially. But I'm not going to patronize anybody. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. If you're watching this stream, if you're following this channel, you're probably already keen to a lot of different Elliott wave principles and understandings. You're not stupid. So I'm not going to patronize you. I'm just going to do everything as I would do it, right? Whether you were watching or not. So I'm going to put the intermediate count in here, okay? I'm not going to make this sort of a kid version of what I wanted to do. I'm going to put the intermediate version here, and I'm going to change the degree, okay, from primary to intermediate, right? So here's the full count. This is what I'm seeing, okay? So the blue is what I want to pay attention to, and I think is relevant, because I think what we're currently doing is we put in the 5 waves up, now we're putting in the 3 waves down. And what you currently see here is a B wave, or a counter to this initial break of structure, right? It's a 3 waves down, 3 waves up, pivot, 5 waves down. That's what I think is happening in the next 2 days. Why the next 2 days? Because, very simply, waves of the same degree are comparable in time and in price. Not equal always, but comparable, okay? So if we take the time it took to go up in 5 waves right here for this intermediate wave 5 count, it's about 3 days, 6 hours, more or less. And if you take the time it should take then to go down in 3 waves, right, it should be approximately the same, 3 days and 6 hours. It takes us to Thursday, right, which is approximately 2 days from now. This is why the title was 2 days, because in the next 2 days, I can see, so 2 days and 3 hours, in the next 2 days, I could see Bitcoin coming right back down, not just to retest, let's get rid of this. I could see Bitcoin coming right back down, not just to retest this W bottom right here, okay, as we illustrated at the outset, but also to serve as a intra-wave correction to this intermediate wave 5, or sorry, it would be intermediate wave 1. So primary wave 5, intermediate wave 1. You guys following me? So if you count, the green is the primary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Primary wave 5. But now you can count this wave 1, intermediate wave 1 of primary wave 5. This is now intermediate wave 2 of primary wave 5. We should get a massive intermediate wave 3 of primary wave 5, and then so on. Do you see? So I think what we're currently doing is putting in that intermediate wave 2 of primary wave 5, and that should take us for the next 2 days right back down to this level right here around 16,960. Okay, so that's what I think is happening with Bitcoin. Now, if this is happening with Bitcoin, and we can expect with a high degree of probability for Bitcoin in the next 48 hours to come down about 2.5%, we can also expect with a high degree of probability that the rest of the cryptocurrency markets follow suit. Okay? I know what you're thinking. Dean, you always say that in a proper bull market, altcoins lead the charge. This is true, but everything's linked. So it may not necessarily be that Bitcoin goes down 2.5% and everything else goes down 10% or something like that, right? They may go down 1%. They may go down 2% just as well, right? But I think everything's coming down to make that retest, because ever since 2023 started, we went up impulsively. That impulse hasn't ended. I believe that you are going to get versions of that impulse for the next 2 to 3 months. This is why I said the bull market has started for cryptocurrency. Now, the task is to be able to read how that impulse is going to play out. And it's going to be tricky when things get really impulsive, really volatile to the upside, okay? But now, the next 48 hours present a relatively operative word, simple way to enter positions, okay? As traders, we look for easy ways to enter positions, and people always say, don't buy the breakout, buy the retest, okay? So a lot of really disciplined, they waited 600 plus days. I don't know anybody who did this, but let's say you were the most disciplined trader in the world. You waited 600 plus days in the bear market. You didn't do anything. You held on to dry powder. And you saw this initial impulse, first impulse in 600 plus days, okay? First likely impulse, okay? And now you didn't buy this. You're buying the retest. This is why these next 48 hours, I consider to be the trade of all trades. That is the trade of all trades. If you have dry powder, this is when you enter. And a lot of people who think that this is just a bear trap or whatever, bull trap, I don't know what people say, bull trap, that's what they would categorize it as. Say, oh, see, I told you we're going down. They're never, nothing goes in a straight line. We go up and down and up and down and up and down. Context matters. Being able to read the market matters. Being able to understand how we're going down, when we're going down, why we're going down, right? What the larger general trend is. That is the name of the game. Not that we're going down or up. Because at any given moment in time, the price goes down and the price goes up. And the price makes higher highs and lower lows, right? Right here, if you read this as an A wave, it's an initial break of structure. Actually, right here, this B wave made a higher high. If you didn't know how to read markets, if you were chart illiterate, you would think, oh, higher high means we're going higher. And you would be sorely mistaken, because everything says that we're coming down, right? If you look quite simply at your indicators, the hourly time frame completely overbought, okay? The 4-hourly time frame overbought and printing bearish divergence, right? Also, the hourly time frame is printing bearish divergence. No, it's not. But it's overbought. 15-minute time frame, bearish divergence. A bit of bearish divergence, not tons, but it's overbought as well. Everything's telling you we're coming down. So if you can read a chart, price action, and you can make use of indicators, you know that we're coming down. Now, are we coming down and making lower lows? Are we going to go to hell? No. This is just what we call an intra-wave correction. You go up 5 waves, you come down 3 waves. That's all that's happening there, okay? And I didn't do this with you, but here it goes. If you take the Fibonacci retracement tool, right, of this intermediate wave 1, okay? So primary wave 5, intermediate wave 1, from beginning to the end, what you'll find is that the 0.618, right, the phi ratio just so happens to be at the exact same level of your neckline of that double bottom. Does everybody understand that? That's what you call confluence. Again, I'm going to repeat it if you missed it. If you take your Fibonacci retracement tool and you take these 5 waves, these blue waves, which is an intermediate count, meaning the primary count is green, the intermediate count is blue. Intermediate wave 1, primary wave 5, intermediate wave 1, right? And this is intermediate wave 2 right here, right? And what do we know about wave 2 is wave 2 typically retraces between the 382 and the 618 Fibonacci retracement level of wave 1. You get 1, 2, 3. It's very likely you're going to hit that 0618 because that 0618 represents that neckline that has yet to be retested of that W formation, that Adam and Eve bottom, that whatever you want to call it, that W bottom that you just broke out of, that took you 25 days, 24, 25 days, right? So this is my Bitcoin technical analysis on the small time frame, and it's relevant because even though we're looking at small time frames, this impacts the next 2 to 3 months. Because if you have yet to get into a position, or if you're thinking of getting into a position, or you want to clean up a position, this is the ideal time to try and catch Bitcoin or whatever other asset in this intrawave correction for the big move, okay? Because up until now, please understand, even though the bull market has started, nothing's really happened. Okay? It's for people who read charts, for us really careful analysts, technicians. Yeah, it's been a big deal, okay? We broke this important resistance, all that stuff. But for your average person, your typical person, nothing has happened because we haven't even made a double-digit increase. And we're still in this consolidation. We're still in this range. So for them, nothing's happened, right? Well, something starts to happen after this happens. After this is retested right here, you can expect that massive eye-popping, sort of attention-grabbing price action that most people are going to say, oh, wait, maybe there's something here. If you want to get in on that, this is a great opportunity. And let me repeat. Once that eye-popping, attention-grabbing price action happens, it's a lot more complicated to enter a position. It's a lot more volatile. There's a lot more moving pieces, quite literally. So it's really difficult to try and read, okay, what just happened? 5 waves, 3 waves, extension, what degree are we in, so on and so forth. This is why the next 48 hours present the opportunity of a lifetime for potentially, what is potentially to be the greatest bull run in cryptocurrency history, and that is not hyperbole. If you've seen my other videos on the high time frame, you'll understand that's not hyperbole. Osman says, hi Dean, thanks for the stream. BTC has gone up in the last couple hours, but alts haven't moved up. Now BTC will dump and the alts will go down way lower. What do you think? So let's look at the alts. We're going to look at the alts in a second, Osman. And that is inaccurate to say BTC has gone up and alts haven't moved. Just a quick example on my watch list. This just happened with Dent. This went up right here about just a few moments ago. Went up about 15%. Yeah. So it's up 8% now. It came down and did this retest. I do believe that, like I said, everything is going to experience in the next 48 hours some sort of correction to the downside. This included, okay? As you can see, like on the momentum indicator, it's showing some bearish divergence here. Or actually, where's the bearish divergence? No. Let's see. Unconfirmed. This bearish divergence is unconfirmed. But in any case, it's likely that they do experience some sort of retracement as well, offering you the opportunity to do as much, right? Something like this, okay? But yeah, Osman, just look through. BTC is currently up, and this is just my very limited watch list, right? BTC is up 1%. Dodo's up 2.6. RSR is up 2.5. Dent's up 8. ETH is up 1.4, right? Algo 1.8. Shiba Inu 6.4. Dogecoin 1.4. Still, the narrative is the same. And I mentioned this yesterday. In a proper bull market, what you can see and what you can observe quite regularly is that Bitcoin may go up, but everything goes up a little more than Bitcoin, or not, or even a lot more than Bitcoin, right? That's what we're seeing with just this small sample of assets. Do you see what I mean? So yeah, they're going to go down, but this isn't a bear market. If you're thinking that if Bitcoin goes down 2.5%, they're going to go down 20%, maybe not. Now, you also have to keep in mind something like Litecoin, which has been consistently outperforming the market, for quite some time, may make a larger correction, but in the aggregate, that correction will still have it way above, Bitcoin's performance or any other asset's performance, right? You have to also look at the aggregate performance, because we all know that these percent changes are just calculated on a 24-hour basis. So maybe something more accurate would be a monthly change or something like that, okay? So yeah, I disagree with the premise that alts are going to outperform Bitcoin on the way down. Or sorry, Bitcoin's going to perform alts by correcting less or something like that, or it has thus far. Bitcoin's pretty much been a stable coin, to be honest, right? And that's why a lot of people are not even thinking of being bullish yet, because, like I just said, very little has, well, a lot has happened, but for the average person, very little has happened, right? We went from 16 to 17, we moved like a few $100s, nothing's happened. That's nothing. But again, as professionals, as, advanced chartists and speculators, we're looking at not just price, but price action, okay? The context of these price moves matter more than just, the price move, right? Akanksha says, hello, alts are ripping. Some are. Some are ripping, but as I said, I don't think, obviously everything's going to be different, and we're going to look at just a smattering of altcoins as an example, because everything's different, right? Not everything's going to do exactly the same thing. But I think by and large, what you're going to see is alts follow suit and also retrace in the next 48 hours, more or less, okay? And we're going to not prove that, but we're going to demonstrate that with some technical analysis, okay? Let's have a look at the DXY, the USDX, okay? Okay, what's it doing? Right now, it's really, really at a precarious position, right? It's lost support of this right here, this range, and it's at the bottom. Yeah, it's at the bottom of this range. It's fighting for its life, but once it does its whatever consolidation here and loses this, I think that's when the real fireworks start. That's when that big, eye-popping, attention-grabbing move in Bitcoin and the alts happen, okay? That's when that happens. Let's clean this up. Go on the hourly time frame. So yeah, I think what it looks to me is this is, once again, some sort of complex correction, right? Intra-wave correction, right? You're getting some sort of consolidation. Maybe you get a little move up, consolidation, and you keep going down, okay? But I do think that what you're going to see here is maybe for the next 48 hours, dancing up here in overbought territory before a capitulative move in the DXY, okay? So that's what we're seeing in the DXY. It's nothing different. The overall trend remains. It's still going to hell. Don't worry, okay? Nothing's going to change. It doesn't matter. You know, people are really focused. You know, people in crypto who maybe are not savvy, chart savvy, will say, oh, it's all about what Jerome Powell says. Like, you could just look at the chart of the DXY, the dollar, right? And you can gather a lot of information from that chart. You don't have to wait for some speech. But whatever, to each his own. And you know, people are waiting for that speech and saying, well, depending on what he says and how it's interpreted and what's been expected, all that stuff. Yeah. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin dominance, yeah? So Bitcoin dominance should be going down, right? Given that this is preparing to be a massive bull market. And what do we see? Similar to the DXY, Bitcoin dominance is puking, okay? And when did that start? It's not a coincidence that started around the same time that Bitcoin started to go up and alt started to go up, around the turn of the year, right? At New Year's, it's been going down consistently. And what's happened since? Intra-wave consolidation. This shouldn't be any different. Continuing this trend is what is most likely in Bitcoin dominance. Expect Bitcoin dominance to continue to trend downwards as we go deeper into this bull market, okay? So Bitcoin dominance looks good. It looks like we've expected it to look, okay? Let's just have a quick look at the larger altcoin watch list. And you can see, I mean, nothing's killing anything because I believe you still have to put in this intra-wave correction, right? Once that happens, I do believe you're going to see face-melting price action. But not just yet. Could some move before? Yes, absolutely, right? I would expect this one, SONM, to move first, or one of the first movers, because it was in the past. But by and large, I still do expect the next 48 hours to be more corrective to the downside, okay? So at this point, what I want to do is I want to go into more careful analysis of these altcoins that I have in my watch list. And personally, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adjusting some positions. I'm going to be getting into some new positions. I'm going to be really fine-tuning my entries in preparation for this bull market, and hopefully what is to be the last of my tinkerings of my positions before enjoying 2 to 3 months of positive, unimpeded positive price action. Okay. So we looked at Bitcoin. We made our case for Bitcoin. I'm expecting that to go down. Let's see. Now let's, if you have anything that you want me to look at in this regard, just let me know right now. And I'll put it on the watch list, okay? So Litecoin, I think something similar is happening. I'm going to start on the 4-hourly time frame. Just get a little bit of distance. Okay, so similar to Bitcoin, I think what happened here was some sort of move that started about here. Okay? I believe that our impulse started down here and that we are currently building the impulse, right? So it's like this is the beginning of it. This is another part of it, right? So when I start counting 5 waves up here, I'm not pretending that the impulse doesn't exist from this level. I'm just saying that here's where we should be focused on, because whatever correction is going to happen is likely going to be at this level of this impulse right here. Okay? So just so everybody understands, that's how I'm looking at this in Litecoin. Okay? And it makes sense in terms of a general pattern. So what do we have here? Okay, in terms of a general pattern, I'm seeing this. Okay? Whoops. You had all this price action right here. You broke out of it. You retested it. You duly retested it. No problem with that. So whatever happens here, you're free and clear. You can go on your merry way. No retests necessary. So this is one reason I don't necessarily expect Litecoin to come all the way down here to retest this neckline, okay? Could it retest this neckline right here? Yes. And that's what I think will happen. Do you see? There's another neckline up here. This is a smaller pattern. This is a larger pattern, right? I expect Litecoin to come and retest the neckline of this larger pattern as it broke through that resistance. Does that make sense? So now let's go on the smaller time frame. So that's a pattern analysis, okay? Again, see, look at how we're trying to approach these analyses. First, start out on the larger time frame, do a little simple but sensical pattern analysis, and look at what makes sense, okay? I learned that the hard way. A lot of times, you know, especially when I started learning Elliott wave theory, I immediately start trying to count waves and doing all that stuff, and a lot of times that's not really necessary, right? You don't need to get in the weeds. Just take a step back, look at what's obvious. Look at the patterns that are obvious, right? What resistance was broken? What supports being held? Basic support and resistance, right? Take it back to the basics, right? Bread and butter. After you've established a sensical or, you know, a reasonable thesis using basic support and resistance, pattern analysis, whatever you will, then you could start counting waves, get a little more in the weeds, get a little more precise, give you some time frames, right? Because the Elliott wave analysis gives you that 48-hour time frame and tells you more or less what's happening, right? With a high degree of probability. So like I said, I think this is a primary wave 1, primary wave 2. I think what's going on in Litecoin is that this is part of a primary wave 3. I would say this is wave 1 of primary wave 3. So I would call this intermediate wave 1, primary wave 3. Okay, so intermediate wave 1 of primary wave 3. And now what we're in is intermediate wave 2 of primary wave 3. So I expect, as a result, intermediate wave 2 of primary wave 3 to come down here. Now, some people are saying, well, why are you doing all of this? Well, this is really useful if you were to trade this, right? Think of this. If this is correct, what you can do with a high degree of probability is not only gauge where the price is likely to retrace to, but when it's going to retrace to that point. How powerful is that? If, again, big if this analysis is accurate and correct, that enables you, that gives you the ability to pinpoint not just a price, but a time, and after which you're likely to get a reversal, okay? Again, this is just a thesis. It's not a magic crystal ball. It's just a thesis built off of technical analysis, doing some analysis of the market, reading it, and what I'm going to be doing is following this thesis and tracking, right, the validity of it. And the further along we get, if we do start to matriculate down, and then once we reach these levels, start to put in some reversal patterns or show some sort of support, then I can more confidently invest, build a position at these levels with a tight stop. That's the beauty of it, right? Because if that thesis is correct, then these 5 waves should not retrace more than the phi ratio. So then I could get really specific. I could open up the chart specific to the specific to the exchange that I want to trade in, and build a position with a tight stop loss, right? So if I'm wrong, I don't lose my shirt, and then potentially make life-changing gains on a legendary trade. And I could do this for multiple assets, right? That's the power of good technical analysis. Doesn't mean that's going to happen. It just means this is a likely outcome based off of all the things that we're reading. I hope everybody understands that. And again, the purposes of this channel is educational, first and foremost, right? I'm not going to talk about how to build a position. I'm not going to talk about what levers to use or if you should use leverage or what not. You guys can figure that out for yourselves. I don't do that anymore. I don't talk about that anymore, right? But, this is so powerful. Even on spot, just buying positions on spot at that level, hugely impactful. Okay, Akansha says, could you look at Moonbeam Glimmer? Yeah, absolutely. I'll add that. I think I have it here. Let's see. All sources. Yeah, I think it's already added. It's somewhere here. I'll just make sure that I don't forget to do it. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we will do that. So yeah, and another thing that I have in my notes. I used to take notes when I started trading and reading charts and doing all that stuff. I used to take copious notes, and actually, I made what the hell is going on here? Sorry, 1 second. I want my full screen back. I never read my notes, but the fact that I made the note, it's then committed to memory. It's like the note itself is just it's kind of useless, but the act of making the note, for me personally, just commits it to memory, so I never have to read it again. In any case, I took hundreds of notes, and after a while, I stopped being so verbose, and I just made little phrases. I would make phrases, sometimes observations, sometimes psychological things that I noticed in my psychology, my trading psychology, like if I was fearful or greedy or whatever. Okay, you get the point. And I remember this one note that said, B waves feel very slow. They feel lazy. They feel like price action is trying to cut through something very thick. It's very it like you feel a huge how do I say this? It's like an impediment of motion. That's what B waves feel like, okay? And remember what a B wave is. It's a counter to an A wave, an initial break of structure. A B wave is also a triangle, right? And we know triangles can go on forever. Look at Dent. Or no, it's not Dent. Is it Dent? I think it's Dent. I think it's Dent. Yeah, it's Dent, right? That's a B wave right here. Do you see this? See how long this took? That's a B wave. That's a B wave. This is an A wave. This is a B wave. In any case, we're not talking about Dent right now. But my point in saying that is B waves, I wrote in my notes, feel like forever. They feel slow. They feel tedious. And what have you noticed about price action in, let's say, the past 27 hours, 30 hours? It feels like we've been going nowhere. That's a B wave. It's very like, that's a more confirmation, right? When I feel this, and I'm always looking at the price action, and I'm always looking at the price, and I'm looking at charts, and I'm looking from asset to asset, and it feels like we're not doing anything. It's like, oh, B wave, okay? So this, again, gives me confidence that, okay, this read might be correct. And what typically happens at the tops of these moves on many time frames. So you could see this on a small time frame, you could see this on a high time frame. Remember when we were at 60K, 65, almost 70K rather, 65 to 70K in Bitcoin? We put in this range and it felt like, you know, we were just hanging out at 65 to 70K. Some people thought we were going to go higher. Some people thought, you know, it was over. That's a B wave. Okay, that's the B wave, and that's actually our consolidation reversal. But it's not accumulation, it's distribution. It's the other side of the coin, right? Because we've been in a bear market about consolidation, reversal, accumulation trends, accumulation channels. This is the opposite on a smaller time frame. You're doing 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot up in these ranges. And then finally, what you're going to do is you're going to break it, and you're going to distribute that supply, right, in a modest way for this uptrend, right? So that's a B wave. So this is what I see in Litecoin as well, okay? Long story short. Dodo, same stuff. I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to jump on the 4-hourly time frame, quick analysis, look at support and resistance. And I really, really encourage you all, do this on your own. Do this with your own investments, your own assets. You know, you can use your free trading view. Nothing I'm doing requires any special indicators, any special things. Most of my reads, most of my work, most of your work, most of everybody's work should be pure price action. Use your indicators corroboratively. If you don't know how to read price action, you're fucked. You will never make it. You will just keep making trouble for yourself, because down the line, it'll always come back to, can you read a chart? Can you read candlesticks? Don't try to cut in corners. Get comfortable with your candlestick charts. So what I'm seeing here is some sort of pattern like this. Actually, you know what? I want to go on an even higher time frame. Yeah. That's what I'm seeing. Some sort of W reversal here. And that you're essentially at the neckline. Let's redraw that so I can really prove or illustrate. Yeah, that's what I wanted to show. You just hit resistance at the neckline of this W reversal. So what you're going to do is you're likely going to consolidate a little bit and then finally break it. Okay? This is what I'm seeing. on the high time frame. So support and resistance. Excuse me. Support and resistance. You just hit major resistance. Okay, and that major resistance was here, like that. Okay, so that's a high time frame read. Let's jump into the small time frame. Small time frame. I'm seeing that your impulse started over here. Okay, right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. Yeah, I think that's a likely read. We can put that in. Something like that. Yeah. And once this is finished, sorry, I'm quiet because I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go on a smaller time frame. I'm doing this with you guys. I haven't worked this out prior. It's just I look at the charts all the time. There are way too many for me to work everything out completely. And again, I do find that it's useful for people learning. Really, really interested in learning. If you're not interested in learning, you've probably already clicked off, and that's fine. But people interested in learning typically get value from seeing somebody's process, right? Not just looking at the conclusions. And I don't think a lot of people provide that. And I think this is really the purpose of the live stream. The live stream is not only for interaction, but really it gives the space and the opportunity for us to go through it in an organic way. So what I'm looking at is this. I don't know. Let me just pull this really quickly. You know what? I feel like you put in your 5 waves here. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it feels like to me. That's what it seems like to me. Okay, this seems like a wave 4. Okay, and this seems like a wave 5 extension. That's what it seems like to me. And then this seems like an A wave, initial break of structure. This seems like a B wave. Okay, and this seems like your AB base, right? And that you're gonna come down here. Okay, so if I'm looking at this in terms of timing, I'm actually looking at this whole thing here. And that makes sense, right? Look, 3 days, 4 hours. I like this read. And I would expect for the 3 waves down to also span some similar amount of time, right? So again, that takes us, that's 2 days from now. Okay, so there's some consistency, right? Remember in the beginning of the stream we said, something tells me if Bitcoin is doing this, then most altcoins are going to follow suit, yeah? In some way, shape, or form. And this is what we're seeing, right? Independent of our Bitcoin analysis, we're just doing analysis, yeah? I'm doing analysis in front of you, with you, live. Haven't worked this out prior. And it seems as if, based off of this read, that you got 5 waves up, and you're now getting a series of 3 waves down, which is likely to take you down to between the 382 and the 618 of these 5 waves. Okay, and that is a great opportunity for entry right here, right? Great opportunity for entry for this. And look at that. Looks like, look at this, okay? Can't make this up either. Do you see this right here? This is a tabletop, some sort of support, right? It was resistance. You broke it. Now you retest it one more time before you continue. It looks good. In terms of pattern analysis, in terms of Elliott wave theory, it looks good. It gives me more confidence if I'm looking to trade that. I'm not actually going to trade this one because I'm already in the trade and the trade's doing well, all that stuff. Actually, I'm maxed out. I purchased the... You can't buy any more dodo on that exchange. I've never had that before. I tried to buy more. They said no. They said there's only, you can't buy more than this amount. And I already purchased the maximum. So I can't do anything with this. Anyway, and that's fine. That trade will do well, I believe. So yeah, so for timing, you're looking at like I said, something around here. Okay, so this is how you set up your trades, right? Using Elliott wave theory, using your skills in technical analysis. Whatever happens in the next 48 hours, it's likely that you find yourself back at these levels, and then the big price action, the big moves start, okay? Next 48 hours, I would not be surprised if that happened. Okay, moving on. RSR, same thing. Let's zoom out for a second. Okay, this one's a little easier to read, okay? Quite straightforward. You've got a clear V-shaped recovery here, okay? Clear resistance, broken to the top, right? Expect to retest it, okay? In terms of pattern analysis, I don't think it gets any more straightforward than that, okay? You want to refine that read using your Elliott wave analysis skills. You come onto the smaller time frames. I believe that you are getting some sort of, I think all of this is your impulse, right? Where you're at in that impulse, hard to say. I'm trying to think here. This right here strikes me as some sort of 333, okay? So when you have impulses like this, it's hard to say, oh, this is this and that is that, right? How do you figure it out? I think, to me, one thing I do is I look at wave 4. Wave 4 typically spans, okay, actually the first thing I do is look at wave 1 and wave 2. If wave 1 and wave 2 aren't really easy to spot, and wave 1 and wave 2 actually are relatively easy to spot because they typically take the same amount of time, okay, and you get that 382 to 618 retracement level, okay, boom, boom. So I think that's a wave 2 situation right there. And I think this is a wave 3, wave 4 situation, and then that's wave 5. So I think that's the read right there, yeah. And guys, the more you do this, the better you get. I don't know how I saw, like, me, even a year ago, maybe I'm looking. I don't remember how my reads were a year ago. To be honest, everything is kind of blending in terms of time, but stuff starts to jump out at you and become more obvious, right? But at some point in time, I can definitely see how it all looks like gobbledygook. It all looks kind of like some amorphous progression, and it doesn't really make that much sense. But let's see. Okay, here we go. Here's what I think is happening. Okay, I think that this is going to be an extended wave 5. Okay, and what you got here with this wave 4 was a retest of this inverse head and shoulders. You retested it, and now yeah, I think so. And that wave 4 probably ends here. And that this is going to be your extended wave 5. Let's look at that. Ooh. This can be tricky. This can get tricky. Let's see. Let's measure this. Okay, this is another thing you can do. There's so many things that you can do to test your theses and give a little bit more insight, more clarity as to what's likely going on. You can measure. Okay, so this is really nice. What do we do here? We take the Fibonacci extension tool of wave 1, retracement of wave 2. The wave 3 extension we know typically comes to between 1618 and the 2, and that's exactly what we got, right smack dab in the middle of that Fibonacci extension level. So wave 3 is likely here. That's likely wave 4. This is likely wave 5 right here, okay? And so, again, what I think we're looking at is intermediate wave 1 of primary wave 5. I'm going to change the color in a second. Actually, what I think you have here with RSR, and this is why you have to look at everything independently. If you just say, oh, 48 hours, let me make this primary. If you just say 48 hours, I'm not going to enter any trades for 48 hours, there's certain things you may miss the boat on, because not everything is going to be exactly on that timeline. Okay, here I believe that you're in this primary wave 5, intermediate wave 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you're in intermediate wave 4 already. Okay, and I believe that reserve rights is probably going to come up here. Probably going to do something like this. Okay, so in terms of a trade, I don't think it's a bad trade to get in right now, because you still have a lot of upwards potential, and it's likely that you're going to go much higher. But you want to be careful, because you're already very likely in that primary wave 5, intermediate wave 4. So you've already made quite a bit of progress. And, okay, look at what I just did. I just pulled the Fibonacci retracement level, provided we go and make this higher high right here, right? We break this previous resistance, right? Make a new high and turn it into new support eventually. If let's say that were it, and wave 5, your primary wave 5, ended there, yeah? So, just so you guys don't get confused. Nope. Let's say primary wave 5 ended there, okay? I hope nobody is confused by my wave count. Then you're coming all the way back down here in that wave 2, that primary wave 2 correction. So you want to be careful. You want to be careful because according to my read on this, we're already quite advanced. RSR is in this wave count, okay? And once you complete this correction here of wave 4, right, which is basically a retracement of this neckline, I think you're good to go, okay? But you may very well come right back to this level because that represents the 0618 of where your target is. Does that make sense? So you want to be mindful of that. Not to say it's a bad trade, but you just want to be mindful of that. That's what I see with RSR. Moving on. Dent. As always, high time frame. Oh, actually, one thing I want to do before moving on from RSR, I want to quickly just have a quick look at the momentum indicator. And your momentum indicator it's not completely overbought. The hourly time frame is completely overbought. So yeah, that wave 4 may take some time. Yeah, to do something like this, okay? But that 4-hourly time frame, you have some room. You have some room to the downside, but you can also go up from there. It's neither here nor there. It's not. I wouldn't say it's it's not like you printed strong bearish divergence on it or anything. Okay, anyway, Dent. Here, you did this. You made this nice little pattern. You broke it. You came back. Okay, this is clearly corrective. So what I would do is actually I would focus from here on out because whatever happened here is not really relevant to what's happening here. Okay? Just in terms of price action. Like this is a pattern. Actually, it may be. Let's zoom out just a little more. Here's why. This may be a massive A wave, and this, what we're in, may be a massive B wave. It's very likely. Very likely. Okay. Another way to look at this is, yes, this is a massive A wave right here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 3-wave move, corrective in nature. But if you go on the smaller time frame, the B wave that comes after every A wave has already been printed here. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So you're good. Okay. I would say that is likely. That's likely. Remember, if the A wave's up, the B wave's down. If the A wave's down, B wave's up. This B wave's down, all right? So I think we already did it. 1, 2, 3. And that B wave, given that your A wave's flat, your B wave should span a minimum of 786 of your A wave. So you take your Fibonacci retracement, and you can see that the 786 I don't know if you, my blue line is my 786. I know that, so I'm going to show you. I don't know if you know my colors. That 786 was met. Do you see that? Okay, so floating that idea that that's a massive A wave is likely the case, but that B wave's been printed. So we can, I think, relatively safely presume that what you're seeing here is a pivot. Okay, it's another A wave and B wave. You see that? And that is the end of your consolidation reversal. And now you can count impulsive price action. That would make sense with the larger thesis that impulsive price action started in 2023. This was just a bit late to the party. Okay, so on the smaller time frame, now let's go back to the smaller time frame. Sometimes with corrective price action, the pattern analysis doesn't help much because there are no straightforward technical patterns that you can read. It's just understanding corrective price action more than, you know, reading a bunch of shapes and patterns. Yeah. So I'm looking at this as very likely this right here, pure impulsive price action. Some sort of leading diagonal. Okay, that's what I'm looking at that as for dent. And as a result, I'm going to measure this, the time it's taken, 2 days, 18 hours. Excuse me. I'm going to measure 2 days, 18 hours that it took to print that impulsive up move. So I'll give it 2 days, 18 hours to come back down, which would take us early to Friday. Okay, so I would not be surprised if Dent did something like this. Okay, and now let's measure it. I feel like this is where you find support right here. The top of this pattern. You see that? All this right here, that's clearly been resistance for price, and then once it left that, it flew. Okay, so what I think it's gonna do is come back, retest that, and then you go. This is where I enter my dent trade. Okay, and this is actually what I'm going to be using to make my trade. I'm not just doing this for YouTube. I'm actually going to put money on this. I'm actually going to trade this plan. And actually, before I trade the plan, I'm going to monitor it. So for the next 2 days and 18 hours, I'm going to monitor this trade thesis to see how viable it is. But if things play out, and I think you're going to get a zigzag. I think you already got some sort of zigzag. You can get a flat. It doesn't matter. All I care about is eventually you do matriculate down here in that time frame, more or less, and probably down to this 0618. That's where I'm interested in getting involved in this with this asset. I hope this makes sense. This is how you use your skills. It's not, I know a lot of people on, YouTube, on social media that do technical analysis, do it just, I don't know if they use it, to be honest, because I can't imagine they're using their analysis. Maybe they do, but I don't do it for the views. I don't do it for anything other than because I'm using it, and I just so happen to share what I'm doing with you. That's all. I would do this without a YouTube channel. I'd be doing this. I'd sit down and do this work because literally that's my job, to take advantage of these fluctuations, this volatility, and use my skills to trade profitably. Okay, so I'd be doing all this analysis. I just so happen to be sharing it publicly. But it's not a, oh my god, you're giving all your secrets. Most people aren't watching this. Most people aren't interested in all of this, right? It's way too involved. If you're here, if you're listening, you're serious, and you've done the work. There's nothing I'm giving you. And this is also not 100%. Who knows if this is even true. This is just a likely, probable outcome based off of my analysis, which could be wrong, so you still have to use your discernment. Yep. And I'm also just going to keep watching this. So if something changes and I'm like, oh, wait, that's not right, or I put that where here when I should have put that there, then, I'm also going to adjust. So yeah, just looking at my momentum indicators, my hourly is overbought, so it's likely to come down. Okay, my 4 hourly is overbought, and it's about to print bearish divergence, strong bearish divergence. Okay, what is bearish divergence? Really quickly, it's this: you make a higher high, right, on your momentum indicator, you make a lower high on your you make a higher high in price action, a lower high on your momentum indicator. That's strong bearish divergence. It has yet to confirm. Once the K and D lines cross here, it will be confirmed. Okay, that kind of tells me with a higher degree of probability that this trade plan here is likely to play out, and we're likely to come down, most likely to this area. That's where I would aggressively start building this position. Okay. And again, Elliott Wave is gracious enough to give us a time frame, so I don't have to sit throughout, waiting. I could just assume that around this time, right, 11 p.m. on Thursday evening, this is when it's likely to happen for this particular asset. Really cool, right? I think so. All right, next up, Ethereum. Just looking at this, it reeks of bearish divergence. Okay, on the 4 hourly time frame, you can see you're high. Okay, you're even here on the price action pretty much. You're about to cross bearish. You're about to print a strong bearish pattern on the momentum indicator. It's very likely that you're in a B wave. Very likely that you're coming down. Okay, that's the first thing that jumps out. Okay, next is just having a look at the larger pattern, seeing if we can't spy any obvious support and resistance. This is a truncated chart because this is Femex. They just put this contract up. But nevertheless, I think it fits. We can still use this. Okay, I say this is the analysis right here. The point of interest or area of interest is right here. You have this W pattern, okay, that you broke out of right there. You hit the technical target. Now you come back, you retest it as support. That's my technical analysis using pattern analysis. Yeah. Simple support and resistance. Going on the smaller time frames, it's likely that this I'm trying to make sense of when the impulse started. My sense is this, that the impulse started here. in this leading diagonal, okay, right here, with an extended wave 5, and then that this was wave 2, primary wave 2, and that what we're currently in is primary wave 3, and that primary wave 3 is also, this larger pattern is a leading diagonal right here. I think that's what is being printed. Again, the area of interest is this 5-wave sequence, and then the subsequent retracement thereof. So I'm going to take my time measuring tool of these 5 waves up, approximately 3 days and 8 hours, and 3 days and 8 hours from that would give me, yep, right here. Okay. And as usual, I expect the maximum retracement, or I plan for the maximum retracement of wave 2, which is the 0618, which is around here. So it should yield a $12,000 or $1,276 Ethereum on this chart. Okay, it doesn't have to come all the way down to the 0618. Obviously, it can go as shallow as the 0382. But that's what I would expect in the coming 48 hours for Ethereum. Okay, I think this is a B wave. I think it's coming down. Moving on. Algorand. This is a lot of work, guys. This is not light work, you know. Typically the streams don't last this long, but you know, this is the work that you need to do to really crush the market. And once things start moving, you'll see that these live streams don't last as long because there's no reason for them to last as long. This work that you're doing bears fruit. And if you're doing this kind of work, and if you're putting this kind of effort into making your entries, and you're one of these hit, wow. I mean, this is really, you're doing work. It's kind of like, it's almost exactly like planting a seed, watering it, tilling the soil, doing all of that stuff, and then fucking off for a few months while it grows. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to watch it grow. You don't have to move it. You just have to don't touch it, right? But you have to prepare the soil. This is exactly what we're doing. High time frame, Algorand. Here's what I see. I think this is relatively simple here, straightforward. This is a pattern that you broke out of to the upside. And what you're going to do, more likely than not, is you're going to retest this previous resistance as new support. That's what I'm seeing. High time frame, okay? My momentum indicator on the high time frame is down. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going up from here. What may likely happen is that we come back down like this, then go up, okay? So this tells me, actually, this 4-hourly momentum indicator, and let's see, the hourly, yep, the hourly's on top. It means that the move down is modest, okay? And that's actually consistent with our read, right? Our read was that if you did come down, you don't have too far to come, okay? So in response to Usman, who said, oh, if Bitcoin's going down, alts are going to come down harder or something like that. Like, this is proof positive that in this thesis, the thesis of this price, of this trade plan, no. Bitcoin coming down 2.5% Oh, actually, this is decent. Maybe a 7-8%. Yeah, he may be right. He may be right. But Bitcoin didn't do all of this, right? So again, goes back to my point. You put it into context. This has been up since the new year 30%, okay? Bitcoin has been up just a couple or few percentage points. So if this corrects 7% and Bitcoin only corrects 2.5%, it doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin is outperforming Algorand, okay? That's an important point to make and to keep in mind. In terms of what this impulse looks like, going on the smaller time frames, looks like it starts right here, down here. Let me see something. You know what? This is it's a tough entry because nowhere in the course of this impulse do I see even a 0.382 retracement level. It's pretty overextended, or this is very bullish. But when it does correct, it will correct significantly. So I'm a little less confident in this one. Because, yeah, if you take this right here, you can see it's a shallow retracement. You can't say it's a wave 2 retracement because it hasn't even come down to the 382, and obviously this retracement hasn't lasted as long as this has. So whatever's happening here, you're likely to retrace at some point to a minimum of the 382 Fibonacci retracement level of the prevailing 5-wave sequence. Where are you in this? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. For something like this, I'm going to keep with my pattern analysis, okay? I'm just going to use Occam's razor. I'm going to use the simplest explanation. I'm not going to make things up. My Elliott wave count here isn't clear, okay? But this pattern analysis is a little more clear. So I'm going to, what I would do with this, how would I trade this? I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for this retracement right here, this resistance that you just broke to the upside to be retested as support. I'm going to wait for that. I can't imagine it's tough. This is tough, right? Because even if you do that, right? And you continue, who's to say you don't do this, right? Because if you're going to get into a trade with this, you have to be extra cautious. Because you don't want to get stopped out. Even if you start going up, eventually you're going to have to you're going to have to do intra-wave correction, right? Give me 1 second. I'm going to check something. All right. So this one's quite tricky for those reasons. On a higher time frame, here's what needs to happen for us to really make the bullish case. You're going to have to break this. This is your resistance. It's been your resistance since late November. You're going to have to break this pattern right here, this line. It's going to be broken. When it does, it's probably going to be retested. Like so. That is probably the most likely scenario. And that retest is probably going to retrace all of this. So 13 days, 12 hours. Probably gonna do... I don't know. It's so tricky. I don't know. This is tricky. I'm gonna have to look at this again. Sometimes, take some time off. You do something else. You come back and things start to make sense. But right now, this is not a simple trade. It's not a straightforward trade. It's not a straightforward trade. Oh. It's not a straightforward trade. Let me try one more thing. Yeah, I do think you are going to get that bullish reclamation right here. Just by virtue of breaking out of that pattern right there. You're going to get this move right here. At least to this level. And once you do, then I think you get that retest. And that retest may be where you start continuation. It's tough. This is a tough read. It's tricky. Yeah, I think this one, I would be... Okay, I got it. I would wait. This would not be... So, we're waiting 48 hours for a lot of different assets. This one, I would say, wait and see. I would put a note. Wait and see. Okay, I need more data. I need more information. I need to know, what did Bitcoin do? Went up a little more. Okay, cool. Yeah, I need to know more. I need more time. I need more data. Yeah? That's a powerful thing. I don't know, That's a powerful thing. It opens a lot of doors. It gives you a lot of space to actually know eventually. Not knowing is powerful. I love that. I'm a big fan of not knowing. So yeah, I would just wait and see. I'll probably keep this as a dotted line just to remind myself that this is important. Or dashed. Yeah, and that's it. Wait and see. see how this plays out in the next 48 hours and beyond. And once gain a little more confidence as to what's happening here, then I would enter this trade. But I would not enter this trade at this point in time. I just don't know. It's just too risky for me. Okay. Shiba Inu. What's going on here? Very, very impulsive, starting right here. Okay, it's starting right here, very impulsive. And what's likely happened, excuse me, is you put in wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and you're on wave 4. And you're going to put in wave 5. That's what I see. Does that make sense? You're putting in a leading diagonal. Remember, leading diagonals are very, very popular, very commonplace when you're getting new trends established after long consolidations, long sort of a trend sideways accumulations, consolidations, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I think this is a leading diagonal. I think all of this is a wave 3 right here. So you could even take this and measure 1, retracement of 2. Yep. So you see that wave 3 comes to about the 1 Fibonacci extension, right? So in a leading diagonal, typically wave 3 extends to the 1 Fibonacci extension of wave 1. And now you're putting in a wave 4. It's likely to generate some sort of move down here a little bit. Maybe it's shallow. Who knows? Let's see. It could come down a little lower. So the way I would trade this is like this. I'm trading this line right here. I'm buying around here or below here, right? If it's a leading diagonal, then I'm following this diagonal. Okay, maybe it's lower, a bit lower like this. But I'm following this diagonal. So if we're in what seems to be some sort of wave 4 correction, which looks something like this. 3 waves, consolidation, coming down. I'm coming down here. Okay, now the tricky bit about this is that because it's a wave 4, I can't really time it. Wave 4 is capricious. It's kind of random. I can get a double 3, I can get a triple 3, I can get all kinds of crazy kooky stuff. So I'm going to, if I'm trading this, which I am, probably going to put an alarm at some point. Let's see. We can even do this with a line. I don't know if you guys know how to do this, so I'll just do it with you. Let's put a conservative one in. So let's put the line back up here, okay? And let's add an alarm to it. And so when this line is crossing, let's say, less than, by SHIB. Okay, so if the line gets hit, so if price comes down below this, then it's in my buy zone, and I'm expecting this move right here, this extended wave 5, okay? And that wave 5 can be, should extend to a minimum of waves 1 through 3, So this is the, I know wave 3 hit over here, okay? That higher high you see is the B wave of wave 4, I think. I'm going to have to make this more zoomed in so I can see what I'm doing here. So I would go waves 1 through 3. Gosh. Okay, there we go. Got it. Retracement of wave 4, which let's assume comes down to this level right here, right? This trend line. And the 1618, right? That's a minimum extension. And so I would say that minimally we could expect, once we hit that, to come all the way here. Now remember, these trades that we're making are not short-term trades. This is a trade to buy the bottom of the bear market for the entire length of the bull market. So there's every expectation for this trade to stay for a couple or to a few months. Okay. Now, if let's say wave 5 was shallow, this is the minimum. It can go a lot higher. Then we could say that a maximum retracement here would be down to this area right here. So I would want to keep my stops below the phi ratio of the minimum extension. Does that make sense? That's how I structure that trade. And that's how I'm going to structure this trade. And again, this is my trade thesis, my trade idea. I'm going to monitor this for the next 48 hours or however long and see how it plays out, how it develops, and if this trade thesis is still cogent. And if it is, I'm going to trade it. But again, you can see that there's every expectation that the price moves down in the next 48 hours, right? You see the hourly time frame needs to come down a bit. 4-hourly time frame cross bearish with strong bearish divergence, right? Look at that. Higher high on price action, lower high on momentum indicator. You're coming down, right? That's what your momentum indicator is saying. So, it's not about shorting it, but waiting. One of the hardest things to do in trading. Waiting, lying in wait for this move. Let it do whatever it does. And just wait till it comes down to your buy zone and you make that buy. Not financial advice. That's just what I'm going to do. Okay, Dogecoin. All right, higher time frame analysis. Let's see if we can't make sense. Okay, this to me immediately strikes me as a more advanced version of what you see in Shiba Inu. It's almost like the two are mirroring one another, but Dogecoin's a little bit more ahead. Kind of makes sense, right? Shiba Inu is kind of like the little brother of Dogecoin, the original meme coin. So I see some sort of leading diagonal once more. I think this is my wave 2, my wave 3, my wave 4, something like this. My wave 5, which is, okay, my wave 5 is not yet complete, okay? It doesn't feel complete. It doesn't feel complete. It looks like what happened is that we just retested this level right here, which is, it's probably going to come down once more. This is the intermediate wave 1 of that primary wave 5. That's my initial read, okay? I'm seeing that what you got here, let's see. Okay, this is all corrective. That makes most sense. The most simple explanation for all this is that it's a corrective. This is corrective price action, not impulsive. The impulsive price action starts here. That's the easiest way, because I can try to explain this away and say this is a leading diagonal, but it doesn't make sense. The explanation is far too convoluted to make sense. And what I say makes sense is, you can try and make sense of it, and I think a lot of Elliottians fall into this trap. Try to make sense of complex things when, really considering the more simple explanation, that, again, Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is the most likely. That's most likely what's going on. What's most likely happening is that you put in 2 degrees of AB basing and a pivot, and this is the last bit of your corrective sequence in this entire corrective consolidation. And then finally, you start being impulsive right here. Some sort of wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5 situation. And this is, I love that. Okay? This is the art and the science of technical analysis. You have to go with your gut, and you have to make calls. That makes the most sense to me. So I'm going to use that. When I say I'm going to use that, I'm going to trade that. So I'm seeing this as my 5-wave sequence ending in an ending diagonal. I like that. I really like that. And then if I take my Fibonacci retracement level from the bottom to the top, it looks like we're in a B wave. This initial break of structure right here is rather deep, but it's an A wave. I think this is a B wave, and we get some sort of final wave down, like so. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing. Something like this. And the time it takes for that entire thing to play out should be approximately the same time it's taken for those 5 waves to print. 3 days and 5 hours. Approximately the same time that we can see Bitcoin turning around or bottoming out. So yeah, this is what I'm seeing. So I think we're in the B wave, and remember, the B wave is tedious. It's toilsome, if that's a word. It just takes a while, and it's tedious. But eventually, you end up getting your impulsive wave down and completing the counter correction to this initial break, or to this impulse. That's what I see. Okay, so I'm going to wait for that to play out before entering a buy into Dogecoin. And I will also say that the chart, the momentum indicator, is telling us the same thing. The momentum indicator is indicating that we're topped out, or we're overbought, and we're likely to come back down on the hourly time frame as well as the 4-hourly time frame right here, we have some downside to go. So I like that read. I think that is a good trade plan for this. And at the end of the day, when you look at it even more closely, what you essentially get, you're ultimately getting is this. Actually, no. This right here. Breakout, retest, breakout. Okay? That's what I see with Dogecoin. All right, moving on. Synthetics. Okay, I want to say that the impulse, first and foremost, most definitely, high degree of probability, can start being counted from here. Okay? That's how I'm playing that. And I want to say that this is 3, 4, 5. I think you've already put in a wave 1, wave 2. Okay, so let me just measure this really quickly. Actually, maybe from here. Yeah, makes more sense probably. 2 days, 4 hours. Let's see. Maybe not. It's possible. Okay, this is an impulse that's been going on for some time. It either started here or here. I'm not exactly sure. It's going to retrace. It has to retrace. It's likely to come back down here. Okay? That is my that's my sense. Inverse head and shoulder, breakout, retest, breakout. So if I'm buying this, I'm waiting until it comes back at least down here. I think this is an A, B, C right there, flat correction. So if I'm not exactly sure on how to count these impulsive waves here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to count these corrective waves, because I think this is a more high probability read. So I'm just going to go kind of backwards. I love how technical analysis trading, like, you have to be creative and you can't always look at something the same way. And in this case, instead of first counting the impulse and then counting the retracement, I think the retracement is more clear than the impulse. So I think this is a really clear three wave consolidation reversal, 5 wave down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to count the retracement and then I'm going to work backwards from that. So I'm going to also make an assumption. I'm going to assume that this lasts about, let's see. Okay. Let's say it lasts about as long. Actually, I don't want to do that. Okay, I was going to make an assumption based off of our previous reads, but I want to respect the integrity of every asset and read them independently. So I'm going to do that. Okay. Let's just check in with Bitcoin really quickly and see what's Bitcoin doing. Okay, it's going up a little bit more. So the maximum extension for a B wave is typically the 1618 or phi ratio of the A wave. So if this is the A wave, then the B wave should stop anywhere beneath the 1618 right here. Okay, so we're right now at around the 1236. Okay, so that's my expectation. It looks like if you're looking at the momentum indicators, we are overbought, and we're printing some bearish divergence, or almost bearish divergence, on the 15-minute time frame. So we'll see what happens. But I still do believe that this is coming down. Okay, could be wrong, but I do believe it's coming down. But yeah, B waves are messy. They're so messy, as you can see. It's just B waves and then the subsequent consolidation reversal, always really messy. But I do think that this is happening. Let's see. Actually, let's move that here. I'm just going to do one thing real quick. Let's see. One more second. Let me add something. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, that works. Okay, back to, what was it? Synthetics, yeah. So synthetics, I think we're on the 4-hourly time frame. Yes, we're going backwards. Because it's hard to count this. Impulse. I feel like this is, whatever happened, this is my first, this is my second, likely, another leading diagonal, okay? Where this is, right here, wave 1, either wave 1 right here, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then you can expect wave 5. That would make sense to me, okay? At some point, I think we're coming down here, or even a shallow retrace, something like this. So because I think that this is a wave 4 situation, which is probably why it's so tricky to read, okay, I think this is something like this. We can't really time it. So what I would do is I would do something similar to SHIB, where if I want to get in on this, and if this indeed is a leading diagonal, I'm going to put a trend line at the support of the leading diagonal. Okay, so I can just get rid of this. And I'm going to put an alarm here. And then now let's zoom out for a second. Excuse me. I'm projecting the next move to be at least up here somewhere, above $3, at least, at the very least. Okay. So I would put my alarm here, and I would do like once per minute. I would put buy SNX, and then I would put, yeah, crossing's fine, right? Crossing's fine. And guys, you can also play with the sounds, right? You can make it send you an email, do all that stuff. So you can play with this if you've never used it before. So yeah, that's what I would do. This is what I will do, actually, because I'm looking to get in on this as well. Okay, so that is synthetics. Litentry. This is a new one I've added recently. On the high time frames, my momentum indicator is showing me that there's some bearish divergence going on. It's not confirmed yet, but there's some bearish divergence for sure. Right? You can see that. A higher high in price action, a lower high, yet to be confirmed, but it's about to be confirmed in momentum indicator. Okay? So it's likely coming down. Also, high time frame, what I'm seeing is you broke this resistance right here, and you have yet to retest it quite clearly. This resistance, significant resistance, right, for a number of days, probably 3 weeks worth of resistance, finally broken. And you flew. Now what you're going to do is most likely retest that. That is the trade. Okay? And I think what you can do as well is you can take this entire movement right here. Would you take this? No, I think, yeah, you would take like this as a 5-wave sequence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'm not even going to put it in, but I think you can see it. Maybe let's go down to the hourly time frame so you can see it a little closer. I think this is it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then you put in ABC like this. Back down to the 618, which happens to be right at this, what's it called? This neckline. So I really like this read. This is the trade I'm more likely than not taking. Given our read here, I think we can also make a time prediction using our 5 waves up, 3 waves down, given that it's waves 1 and 2 most likely. If it took about 2 days and 22 hours to go up, it's likely to do the same on the way down. So that would mean from here, you should expect a retest of this line early in the morning on Thursday. Okay, my time. So whatever. You understand the principle, yeah? So I would do that. I would this is how I would trade Littentry. I think that's how you pronounce it. I think we're in a B wave. And then you come back down here. Okay. So that is you know, that's a really high probability move likely to happen. You saw the strong, you know, the bearish divergence that's likely to confirm on the 4-hourly time frame. On the hourly time frame, you're already in that overbought territory. You're likely to come back down, retest this untested resistance now as support. This, I would think, is really a beautiful place to enter this trade for the bull market. Okay, I think that's more straightforward than a lot of the other assets we've been reading. Okay, Tron, TRX. Okay, let's go on a higher time frame. And here we can see, okay, what I see on the higher time frames is a nice W pattern. Okay, probably gonna test and go. Okay, so I see a nice W pattern, and it is a reversal pattern. So on a high time frame, a high time frame reversal is more likely than not. Okay. On a smaller time frame, what I see is some sort of diagonal. Okay, some sort of diagonal, and you may be able to see this, right? And actually, you're if this is a diagonal and you want to buy support, you're pretty much on it. You're pretty much on it. So let's say that this is, here, let's just measure this really quickly. Let's say that this is a 5-wave sequence, right? That took about 15 hours, right? 15 hours up. Measure the time it took on the way down, around the same time, 15, 16 hours. Okay, and then you go into the second sequence, right, which is likely a wave 3. So you would count wave 1 right here, retracement of wave 2 into wave 3, which is about 1 to 1, 2, 3, 6, right, which is essentially kind of in that leading diagonal zone, right? Leading diagonals typically have a bit of a truncated wave 3, right? 1 to 1, 2, 3, 6. So again, it's very likely that this is a leading diagonal. Also, here's why this is a good buy where it's at right now. Okay, if there was anything to act on that we've talked about today, sooner than later, it's this Tron. Because look at this. Let's say you take, I just want this magnet to catch. Okay, here we go. Let's say you take that as a 3-wave move, or a wave 3, right? A 5-wave move, it's impulsive, right? The retrace came down all the way back down to the 0.618. So you've already done your retrace, and you're pretty much at that area right here. So I think what you're gonna get is a move back up. So this may be one of the first trades I take, okay, for that reason. Now let's see if my momentum indicator isn't going to confirm this. What we should see before I turn it on is the momentum indicator showing that indeed the momentum is looking to move up. Okay? So that's what we should see. Let's see if that is confirmed. 4-hourly time frame, okay? Momentum looks like it's starting to turn up. It's not completely bottomed out, but it's right on the top of the midline between oversold and overbought. Okay, that's on the 4-hourly time frame. The hourly time frame, hourly time frame is completely overbought. Okay, so that tells us at least that on the smaller time frame, if this is some sort of consolidation reversal, you're more than likely to get a little bit of a move down here. Okay, so you don't have to act immediately, but soon. On the 15-minute time frames, probably overbought. Yep, overbought. So what I would do is I would wait for this small time frame indicator to come back down, and it's more than likely to coincide with a move back down into these regions. I think that's a perfect buy for this project. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. And guys, you know what you can do here? I'm going to show you if you don't know. You can also set alarms on your indicator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an alarm for the 15-minute stochastic RSI for Tron coming back down here, which should alert me to when it's a good idea to buy Tron. And because you're buying so close to support, you can set relatively safe, relatively tight stop losses and still play out your trade thesis. All right, that's just really, because again, that 0.618 of this impulse right here, if you just looked at this impulse, the 0.618 of this impulse is right here. So the invalidation would probably be 786 or below or something like that, or right here, something like that. So if it's a leading diagonal, you just want to give a little leeway. But that's nice. That's it's almost there. I think Tron is almost there. I think the easiest and the most sensible way to visualize this trade setup is with this trend line right here. This diagonal trend line representing support of what's likely a leading diagonal. And leading diagonals are 5, 3, 5, 3, 5. And that last 5-wave sequence is going to be a monster of a sequence. That is the eye-catching, attention-grabbing wave. Okay? So that's what I'm doing with Tron. That's how I'm trading Tron, or looking to trade it. And again, like I said in the beginning, even though 48 hours is the time frame that Bitcoin's likely to bottom at, that most of these other assets are likely to bottom at, not everything is on the exact same timeline or time frame. So you have to do this individual work by going through these assets one by one if you're going to trade them, or else you're probably going to be disappointed. So XRP, I think this is also relatively straightforward. This to me is a clear impulse right here. Okay, this to me is a clear 3-wave intrawave correction. Okay, because this impulse took no time, and just this intrawave correction, or sorry, did I say intrawave correction? This initial break of structure already took much longer than this impulse. I know this is corrective, but it's corrective in it's how do I say this? It's a zigzag. It's not a flat correction. Okay, that's important. So this is impulsive. It's indeed impulsive. What we got on the New Year, on the New Year's Day, is impulsive price action, but it's corrective impulsive price action, i.e. it's a zigzag. 5 waves up, 3 waves down correctively. Okay, so I expect, short story or long story short, I expect this to be a 3-wave move down, like it is, 3-wave move up, pivot, 5-wave move down at the mathematical support, which is 0.5 to 618 Fibonacci retracement level. Okay, so this is another one that is a nice trade because we have a support level. This is not a structural support level, but it's a mathematical support level based on the thesis that this is a zigzag. 5 waves up, 3 waves down. So again, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we should expect pivot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So that's what I'm expecting. I would, and I am, going to then set an alert for XRP at this level right here. Okay, because this is a corrective move, I can't really time it. But what I can do is I can set an alarm at the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level. Why the 0.5? Because that is the minimum retracement of any zigzag, right? Zigzags retrace to minimum of the 0.5, maximum of the 0.618. So I'm going to put an alarm here, say, by XRP. Now, isn't this fun? As for a change, like, we can actually do trading, we can actually do trade plans. We haven't done that in a long time, right? It's the reason we haven't done that in a long time on this channel is because I don't see the point of trading corrective price action for it to, make lower lows, and it's a low probability affair, right? But these trades, once again, are trades that we can expect to more than likely continue and trend for months at a time. So if this trade succeeds, you can leave it for months at a time. That is how you make life-changing money in this market. Okay. Cardano. I think this is incontrovertibly an impulse. Okay. Question is, what kind of impulse? What's the read? Okay. It's a little harder to answer, but I think, as I said yesterday, you can look at it this way. You made the higher high. Now you retrace. So I do expect... Oh, actually, one thing before we go on to ADA. XRP should show us momentum that is overbought. Indeed it does. On the hourly time frame, overbought. On the 4-hourly time, well, that's a 4-hourly time frame. On the hourly time frame, overbought. Okay, so that shows us that it's very likely that we do get that move down, and that would be about a 7-8% move from here. Okay, so just throwing in our momentum indicators here. ADA. Okay, so let's say we don't know how to read the impulse. We're going to try in a second, but let's just say we're doing pattern analysis. The pattern analysis is you made the higher high. Now you do a retest. And then you carry on. Okay? So, just looking at this impulse, let's see. Okay, to me, I want to say that the impulse starts all the way down here. Okay? And this is a wave 1, wave 2 situation right here, down here. Wave 3 and 4. I think wave 4, you get this triangle. Do you see that? A, B, C, D, E. It's a triangle. You only get triangles in wave 4. Okay? So I think that's the move right there. Actually, you know what? I just saw this. Okay, this is an important area, right? Because this represents resistance that you just broke. This line, that is. Okay? But actually, this is also resistance that you broke. Are you going to come back down to retest this? It's possible. It's possible. Let's also see if it's feasible mathematically. So if this is indeed our impulse, and this is the problem I mean, it's great to have impulsive price action, but one of the issues is once you go impulsive, the retracements are that much more volatile, right? So everybody's kind of happy that Cardano has gone up 45% in the past few days, yeah? But when it retraces, it's going to retrace a decent amount as a result of having gone 45%. This is why we're doing all of this work at this point in time. Because if you wait, your work gets that much harder and the volatility just gets that much more. And if you're wrong, you're really wrong. Because, you're just dealing with a lot more volatile moves, right? It's a lot easier when you're just getting started. That's why when people wait for quote-unquote confirmation for bull markets to put in those eye-popping, attention-grabbing moves, they take more risk in entering those trades. Okay, I'm not talking about spot trades. Yeah, spot trades a little bit, but especially if you want to enter the margin trades or leverage trades. Okay, so it's possible that what we get here is not only did you make the higher high here, let's keep that on. Not only did you make the higher high here, okay, but what you're going to do is you're going to come back and retest this level right here because you never did, okay? Now, what's the time frame on that? A possible time frame on that would be, so let's say you put 9 days, 8 hours in to go up. This is possible. I don't know if it's for sure, but it's possible. It's possible. Okay, I'm going to put this in. I'm not going to rush this. I'm going to wait and see. But this is possible that you do something like this. I'm going to tell you another possibility. Oh, crap. This stupid magnet. Okay, we're going to look at one more possibility or possibility, yeah? With Cardano. Oh, man. Okay, you know what? It doesn't really matter. All I want to do is to show this, okay? That's possible. No, did I just put that in? No. Sorry. Not down there. Over here. Okay. I think that's really possible because you didn't retest this. You kind of did, but you didn't really. And maybe you don't have to come all the way down and retest this. Maybe this is not significant enough of a resistance level, okay, formed over, let's see, how long? Yeah, it's a 20-day resistance. Maybe you got to come back down. Okay, I would not be surprised if that happened. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Another thing that can happen, okay, I told you we would look at a couple of things. Another thing that's possible is that you continue, okay? You don't come back down here, and you continue up. This is also quite probable. So we'll look at both. Okay, this is one probable scenario for Cardano in my head. The other probable scenario is that, again, you're dealing with an extended, whoops, that's not what I wanted. An extended wave 5. So what you've just done is you've printed intermediate wave 1 of primary wave 5. And now you're actually putting in intermediate wave 2. So what you're doing here is the following. Something like this. 22 hours up. $22 hours down. And now you're putting in consolidation reversal for continuation. Okay, if that is true, our momentum indicators will tell us as much. Our momentum indicators will be pretty much bottomed out. Let's see what the momentum indicators say. First, let's go on the 4-hourly time frame. The momentum indicator is bottomed out. Okay, the momentum indicator on the 4-hourly time frame, not the hourly, the 4-hourly time frame is pretty much bottomed out. Okay, the hourly momentum indicator, it's a little topped out, but it's the hourly momentum indicator. It could just as well come down here quite quickly before we make our move. 15-minute time frame, bottoming out. Okay, so actually, based off of the indicators, and this is why you want to use indicators in concert, I'm actually leaning more on the side that this is less likely, and Cardano is more likely than not putting in a move sooner than later. And that move is going to be a continuation of this impulse right here. Right? This impulse is the intermediate wave 1 of primary wave 5, and just going to continue that. So actually, this would be another asset that one would likely look to enter in sooner than later. This and Tron. Okay? That's my read on this. Okay? Because I think that this is likely going to continue to the upside and not trifle with this level here, which seems a little, it's not that important. Okay? I think this is the main level to watch here, and that you're putting in this slight retracement for an uptrend. I do not think that takes 48 hours. I think that takes a lot less, okay? But here, this is another example of what I would do with the momentum indicator. So I would take my my 15-minute is already kind of reset. Yeah, I think this is going. Sooner than later. Actually, you know what? I'm putting this in right now on screen. I'm putting this in now. I'm just doing this, guys. I'm putting this trade in. Give me 1 second. I think Cardano's gonna go. $29.47. And this is why you can't assume everything's going to be exactly on the same the same time frame. Sorry, 1 second. Right, not exactly sure how to use this. So I'm going to have to probably get off before doing this. Okay, we're almost done. Young Dasa says, can you look at Zcash, please? I just figured out that in Zcash chart on the monthly chart, we are in an inverted head and shoulders. We are about to burst to the upside. Okay, let's look at Zcash and Moonbeam for a conch shot, and then let's call it a stream. I got a trade to get in on. I just can't figure this out right here. Let's see if I can't do this, because I want to get in on this trade right here. I just have a feeling that this is good to go. I just can't see any. I just can't see my liquidation point here. I don't know why I can't see my liquidation point. It's really annoying. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. Okay, let's forget about it. All right. All right, so let's look at Moonbeam. So Moonbeam, I think this is like, if you're buying spot, you just close your eyes and buy. Look, you came up, right? This is an imbalance in the market. You came up really fast, right? And you come down. It takes a long time to come down, but you pretty much matriculate down correctively. You're filling all of that space, that liquidity. You basically rebalance the market, right? So this is, I mean, really, really easy read on the high time frames. And then on the lower time frames, it looks like you're putting in a W pattern. That's literally the bottom of the market. All right. On the small time frame, smaller time frame. It looks like, yeah, you're putting in a larger W pattern here, okay, and as well a smaller one. Okay, now even smaller time frame. Even smaller time frame. I would say my impulse starts here. Okay, I'd say my impulse starts here. And that you put in waves 1 and 2. Right here. Look, the time it's taken to go up. Whoops. Oh, crap. Let's do that again. I think this is pretty straightforward. As straightforward as it gets, right? Look at that. You go up for 5 waves. You come down for 3 waves. It takes approximately the same amount of time it took to come up, to go down. This is the beginning of wave 3. And now you've retraced your wave 3. So this is essentially, if this is primary wave 1, primary wave 2, you're in intermediate wave 2, right? So primary wave 1, primary wave 2, you started primary wave 3, and this is intermediate wave 1 of primary wave 3, intermediate wave 2 of primary wave 3. Excellent entry point right here for continuation. That's Moonbeam. Let's see. What are we looking at? Zcash. Right here. Let's look at it on the smaller time frame because, oh, wait, actually, let's zoom out on the 4-hourly. This looks impulsive right here from the New Year's Day, January 1st. Okay, kind of like Moonbeam, it's likely that this is a wave 1, wave 2 situation. This is wave 3. You're in wave 3. More than that, you've broken this resistance right here, right? We put in this dotted line some time ago, but you can see this. Excuse me. This is the bear market resistance. This resistance has lasted for 200 plus days. You just broke it, okay? So the trade here, given that this line is so important and it lasts so long, that is the no-brainer, right? That's the trade you want to make. You don't need to complicate things, even counting Elliott waves. You just buy anywhere on this line, a retest of this line, right? Or even here, just perfect entry, right? And you protect your position by setting a stop below the line, something like that, somewhere below the line. And if you want to get a little more precise, what you would do is you would take probably the phi ratio of this move, right? So you would set your stops somewhere below here, below the 618 of that line. But if I'm trading Zcash, I'm using this line, and I'm buying anywhere around this line. If it's spot, I'm closing my eyes and just buying. I don't care. That's Zcash. Also, quick note, if you look at the momentum indicator, 4-hourly momentum indicator is all the way bottomed out, so it's likely to move soon. The hourly time frame's probably coming down a little bit. 15-minute coming down a little bit, so you could probably wait a little bit. Maybe it comes down, maybe it doesn't. But if I'm buying spot, I don't care. I'm just buying right there, right now, on the line. Not financial advice. Okay, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope everybody is well, and I hope everybody manages to make these entries. I hope I manage to make the entry. All right, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.